Hey, what's up, guys? It's Cynthia, aka Sinful, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the second part of the narcissistic abuse cycle, which is called the devaluing stage. So, the devaluing stage is when the narcissist has already pulled you in and hooked you with the love bombing. And now their mask starts to slip and they show you who they really are. So, it starts off very, very subtle, and before you know it, it turns into pretty much pure insanity. So this is when they're going to start making passive aggressive comments, little digs here and there. They're going to insult you and disguise it as a joke. And the devaluing stage is also when the gaslighting starts. So gaslighting is when they will start twisting their words, they will start twisting stories, they will start straight up denying things that you saw with your very own eyes. And it causes you to pretty much question your sanity and question your sense of reality. So I'm going to give you an example of what that looked like in my experience when I went through narcissistic abuse. So, as I mentioned in a previous video, narcissists have a high tendency to be unfaithful. And so at one point when I was in that situation, the narcissist that I was dealing with was on a dating website, and I found out about it. And so when I confronted him about it, he straight up gaslit me. And what that looked like was the first time that I brought it up, he told me that he was on there to network for his car business. And he pretty much shamed me and made me feel ridiculous for even bringing this to his attention. Okay, he was making it seem like a dating website was the same thing as Facebook. And he started breaking things in the house and anything to just deflect from the fact that he was on the dating website. Okay, and a narcissist is really good at talking in circles and twisting words so much that you just become exhausted and you just leave it alone. So that's what happened the first time I brought it up. But obviously, something like your significant other being on a dating website is not going to sit well with you. So I did bring it up a second time later, and the second time that I brought it up, he straight up denied that he was on there at all, which is a completely different story from the first thing that he said. Okay, the third time that I brought it up, he said that he had an old account, that the account was old, they were old pictures, and that he didn't have access to that account anymore. And he had a full-blown rage episode over it and pretty much shamed me again for bringing it up and accused me of not trusting him because I was bringing this to his attention. And so, guys, the narcissist will tell so many different versions of a story related to an issue that you're bringing to their attention. And they do this to deflect from the fact that they're in the wrong. And they do it to confuse your brain. And so, after you've heard so many different versions of the same story, and they are so adamant about when they gaslight you, you literally forget what you even saw and you start to question yourself. And so that's exactly what happens. And they gaslight you so much during the devaluing stage, and you start to become so confused on a daily basis, and you pretty much lose the ability to trust yourself, and you become dependent on the narcissist to tell you what's real and what's not. And you end up living in this false sense of reality that they've created. Also, during the devaluing stage, they will begin to project their behaviors onto you. So let's say that the narcissist that you're dating is cheating on you, okay, for an example. And they know that they are. And so they're going to start randomly accusing you of being the one that's cheating. And why do they do this? They do this because if they accuse you enough of what they're doing, then they start to believe that it's true. So they really start to believe that you're cheating on them, even though you're not. And so when they start to believe it, then in their head, they justify their own actions. It's pretty psychotic that they're able to start to believe their own lies in order to justify their own behaviors. During the devaluing stage, the narcissist will have you walking on eggshells on a daily basis because they are discrediting your feelings so much that you become afraid to talk to them about things, because you never know what side of them you're going to get. You never know if they're going to blow up at you. Their behavior is extremely unpredictable. Anytime you try to talk to them about anything, they turn the tables on you and talk about what you're doing instead of the fact that they're doing something wrong. They will do anything to avoid taking accountability for their actions and behaviors. And so instead of taking accountability, they turn the tables and they shift the blame to you. So if you find yourself in a situation where anytime you try to talk to your partner about something that made you feel uncomfortable, something that you feel like they're doing wrong, an indiscretion, things like that, and they get angry at you and they blame you for what they did, or they won't take accountability for it all, that is an example of a narcissistic behavior and gaslighting. The narcissist is so manipulative. They psychologically and emotionally manipulate you in a way to where you truly, truly, truly start to believe that you're the problem. And especially after the love bombing phase, when they showed you this perfect person, and now they're acting the complete opposite. During the devaluing stage, the narcissist purposely uses all of these manipulation tactics in order to lower your self-esteem and lower your self-worth. They get into your head in such an insidious way that they are able to control your emotions, control your behaviors, and become in control of you. You are now their puppet. In the beginning, during the love bombing stage, the narcissist is going to love everything about you. Whereas in the devaluing stage, everything that they said they love, now suddenly they hate about you. So in the beginning, let's say they loved how affectionate you were. In the devaluing stage, they're going to accuse you of being insecure and clingy. In the beginning, they might have said they admire how hardworking you are and they love that about you. In the devaluing stage, they're going to become very envious of that trait, and they are going to gaslight you into thinking that you're lazy. Every single thing is going to be the opposite during the devaluing stage that it was in the love bombing stage. And what are you going to do? You are going to end up trying harder and harder and harder and giving more and more and more, because the more they pull away, the harder you're going to try. Because in between these crazy psychotic times, they are going to give you breadcrumbs, which are, small doses of affection, small doses of the mask that they wore in the beginning. And that makes you hold on to hope that that person is still in there. And you think maybe if you just try harder and give more, then you can get that person back. And it becomes a toxic cycle and a chase of trying to get that person back that they created in the beginning that wasn't even real. They created this illusion of someone, and you fall in love with that illusion. And it's so hard to let go of. And during the devaluing stage, they're going to give you little breadcrumbs here and there. And so it becomes this cycle where you're going hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And even the hot, good moments are actually just the bare minimum. Anything that's not fighting and getting degraded and disrespected feels good to you. They become an addiction. Every single thing that they showered you with in the beginning when they put you on that pedestal is now going to be ripped out from under your feet. It's going to be taken away from you in a very harsh, harsh, harsh way. And since they're like an addiction, you're going to go into withdrawals when they're taking it away from you. And another form of emotional manipulation that they're going to put you through that is a form of torture, mental torture, is they are going to withhold. They are going to withhold affection. They're going to withhold kindness. They're going to withhold communication. They're going to withhold respect. They're going to withhold intimacy. Anything that they can think of that they can take away from you to make you feel bad, they're going to withhold it from you. And when the narcissist withholds all these things from you, it reinforces what they're telling you when they gaslight you, because it begins to make you question yourself and wonder why they're not giving you affection, why they're not giving you intimacy, why they're not communicating with you. Why are they doing all of these things? It makes you question yourself, and it causes you to actually self-gaslight yourself. You start to wonder, am I the problem? Which is what the narcissist is constantly trying to make you believe in order to deflect from what they're doing. Another huge thing that the narcissist does during the devaluing stage is to isolate you. The narcissist is going to try their hardest to isolate you from the people that love you and the people that you love. So your family, your close friends, coworkers, anyone that they can take you away from. And they're going to do it in a way that makes it seem like you're making the choice not to go, so that they don't have to take responsibility for it. So like in my experience with the narcissist, okay, I have a very, very good family. I have awesome parents. I have amazing friends. And, narcissists typically don't have good relationships with people because of how they are. And so the narcissist that I dealt with was very envious of the relationship that I had with my parents and my friends. and he made me feel very, very guilty about it. So whenever it was time for me to go spend time with these people, he would guilt trip me into not going. He wouldn't downright tell me not to go, but he would make it seem like I didn't care about him if I went. And so it caused me to eventually self-isolate myself, just like I was self-gaslighting myself, because I would start feeling guilty every single time I wanted to go see them, even though nobody was doing anything wrong, right? These people loved me, but he made me feel so guilty that I just started to not go. And guys, when you are so isolated from these loving people in your life, then it causes you to become even more confused. It causes you to lose your identity. You don't know who you are or what you like anymore. All you know is what the narcissist says and what they tell you. You start to live in their delusional land of lies. You find yourself on a daily basis trying harder than you ever have, constantly walking on eggshells. All you are doing every day is just trying to please the narcissist, and nothing that you ever do is good enough. They are insatiable. And it becomes confusing going back and forth in this toxic cycle. Like I said, they're unpredictable and you never know what you're gonna get. It's hot, cold, up, down, over here, over there. You never know. And so it creates cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when your brain is trying to connect two ideas that don't make sense. So the narcissist is showing you this one version of them where they are incredibly cruel, right? And then they're sometimes throwing in this version of them that's the person from the beginning, that illusion that they created. And your brain is constantly trying to understand which version of them is the real version. It's extremely confusing, and it creates anxiety. And it's easier for our brain to believe that they're good. And so that's why it becomes so hard to get out of these relationships. And it excites the narcissist to be able to control you in this way, to be able to mentally and emotionally and psychologically manipulate you and have you as their puppet. It excites them because they're empty on the inside, and it makes them feel powerful to be able to have control over another person in this way. And each time that you fall into the manipulation, they're gonna take it a step further the next time. And they know that you're still gonna stay each time, so they're gonna keep manipulating you more and more and more and devaluing you in more and more incredibly cruel ways. And by the end of the devaluing stage, guys, you end up emotionally, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, and often, at least in my case, financially drained by the narcissist. And that's exactly what they do in the devaluing stage. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about the discard phase. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.